Charles Sebastian Thomas Cabot was born on July 6, 1918 in London, England. At the age of 14, he left school to work in an automotive garage, where he served as chauffeur and valet for British actor Frank Pettingell. Cabot served in the U.S. Army during World War II. Cabot became interested in theater, and after becoming acquainted with other actors and having worked for Pettingell, he joined a repertory company. Cabot admitted that in gaining employment as an actor he lied about previous acting credits. Cabot stated later in a 1968 interview that he believed acting was a type of lying, and he had gained a smoothness in his speech while serving as Pettingell's dressing room butler. He initially used an agency to find acting employment. Without attending any drama school, Cabot learned the hard way, having been fired on his first day in a show called On the Spot. However, finding more work, Cabot's confidence in his acting skills increased, and he was soon receiving personal calls for employment. His formal acting career began with a bit part in Foreign Affairs, 1935. His first screen credit was in Alfred Hitchcock's Secret Agent, 1936. Other British films followed such as Love on the Dole, 1941, Pimpernel Smith, also 1941, Old Mother Riley Overseas and Old Mother Riley Detective, both 1943, and They Made Me a Fugitive, 1947. In 1946, he portrayed Iago in a condensed short film version of Othello. Post-war, Cabot landed roles in such British films as Third Time Lucky, 1949, The Spider and the Fly, 1949, as the villainous Furicata in Dick Barton Strikes Back, 1949, he was also in Ivanhoe, 1952, and The Love Lottery, 1954. He appeared in a couple of international productions, the Spanish-UK-USA Sinbad comedy Babes in Baghdad, 1952, and the Italian version of Romeo and Juliet, 1954, as Lord Capulet, before moving to the United States, where he worked for Disney on Westward Ho!, The Wagons. 1956, and as the scheming landlord Jonathan Light in Johnny Tremaine, 1957. In George Powell's production of H. G. Wells' The Time Machine, 1960, he was Dr. Hillier who doubts the time traveler story. Meanwhile, Cabot had begun to work as a voice actor. In the 1950s he was featured in a radio show called Horizons West, a 13-part radio drama which followed the story of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and was the voice of Noah in the first recording of Igor Stravinsky's biblical, musical play The Flood, 1962. He also did voice parts for animated films such as Disney's The Sword in the Stone, 1963, as Sir Ector, and in The Jungle Book, 1967, as Bagheera. Cabot began taking on television work. He was the host of the syndicated Jack the Ripper series, and he portrayed the Count of Brisemont on The Three Musketeers, and Andrew Crippen on The Beachcomber. He also appeared in such series as Gunsmoke, The Photographer, plus in Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Adventures of Hiram Holiday, 1956-57, on the detective series Meet McGraw, 1958. In the Western series Bonanza, The Spanish Grant, 1960, and Pony Express, The Story of Julesburg, 1960, The Red Skelton Show, various roles 1961-1971, and as an affable demon in The Twilight Zone, A Nice Place to Visit, 1960, Season 1 Episode 28, which aired on April 14, 1960. Cabot had a 2-year period as one of the 3 leads as college professor Dr. Carl Hyatt on the detective show Checkmate, 1960-1962. Into the CBS Saturday schedule, Cabot appeared as Eric Whitaker in the 1960 episode 5 O'Clock Friday, on the ABC Adventure series, The Islanders. Cabot was a regular panelist on the television game show Stump the Stars. He appeared on the NBC interview program Here's Hollywood. In 1964, he hosted the television series Suspense and voiced or narrated a few other film and television projects. In 1965, Cabot played a role on the Beverly Hillbillies as Lucas Sebastian, a billionaire entrepreneur who wanted Jed Clampett to invest in his new venture of undersea farming. He was cast from 1966 to 1971 as Giles French in the CBS series Family Affair. Not halt his other film and television work during the run of Family Affair, but he took a leave of absence from the series at one point. Cabot was also the host of Journey to Midnight, as well as other work from the period. He was so vividly etched as French in viewers' minds that he never shook the image even after Family Affair ended production in 1971. Cabot received another role as the host, Winston Essex, of Ghost Story, 1972, a supernatural anthology. It was retitled Circle of Fear after he left the show. Following the series' demise, he played Kris Kringle in the television remake of Miracle on 34th Street, 1973. The role required Cabot to shave the trademark beard he sported since 1957 as makeup crews were unable to make it look Santa-like. Cabot appeared in another Christmas project, the television film The City That Forgot About Christmas, 1974, and narrated two more Pooh projects, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, 2. And The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. He also released an album of spoken recitations of songs by Bob Dylan, as Sebastian Cabot, actor/Bob Dylan, poet, in 1967. 2 tracks from this album appear on the Rhino Records compilation Golden Throats, The Great Celebrity Sing-Off. On Broadway, Cabot portrayed Buckram in Love for Love, 1947. On an episode of The Late Show with David Letterman, on December 12, 2012, comedian Billy Crystal mentioned Cabot in humorous dialogue with the host David Letterman. Letterman commented that Cabot's name had not been heard in 30 years. Directly before the commercial break, Sebastian Cabot's photo was shown on national television as a tribute. On August 23, 1977, Cabot suffered a stroke at his home near Victoria, British Columbia, and was taken to a Victoria hospital, where he died at the age of 59. He was cremated, and his ashes were interred in Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles.